What needs to be said about Chrono Trigger, other than it's one of the most beloved RPGs ever made, consistently landing in the #1 spot of people's all-time favorites. It also happens to have a very well-done complete-in-box product, so it's time we take a look at it. The cover art alone warrants plenty of discussion. It's a beautifully drawn cover, and anyone familiar with manga or anime will instantly recognize this as the art style of Akira Toriyama, one of the most famous manga artists of all time, most well known, of course, as the creator of Dragon Ball. Everything here is just so fun and dramatic, with Chrono doing a very Toriyama-esque yell while attacking, Marle in the background imbuing Chrono's sword with flame magic. We'll address that in a minute. Frog on the ground here, and the attack is being directed at Hecarim, one of the bosses in the game. It just looks so good. Now, if you are a fan of the game, you also know there's a slight problem here, which is that Marle uses water magic, not fire magic. I used to think this was simply some artistic license taken by Toriyama because fire looks cooler than water or ice attacks. Then I discovered, thanks to some helpful Reddit and GameFAQs posts, this whole scene is taken from a pre-build screenshot, and it's a screenshot you can actually find in a couple magazine previews. The clearest picture I could find was from this ad in the December 1994 issue of Weekly Famitsu. Here we have the exact same scene, and for the trio's Arc Impulse attack, which is the attack showcased here, the animation actually has Marle casting this huge flame upon Chrono's sword instead of the animation from the final build of the game. Most importantly, note that for each scene pictured here, we have Toriyama's rendition alongside it, and this includes our cover art next to this scene. So, as for whether the attack in this screenshot was different because perhaps she was originally a fire user before they made changes before release, or maybe this was simply some kind of placeholder animation, I don't know if there's enough solid evidence to say either way. But what is clear is that this is the image Toriyama was going by to create the cover art. On the back we have this cool pic of Chrono, some bold text announcing that this is a 32 meg cartridge. This is one of those games that you can tell has a lot packed in it just based on how the box feels when you hold it. Here's the cartridge. And then the cool stuff. 2 foldouts, which we'll look at last. The Nintendo Power Flyer and Consumer Precautions booklet, and a 79-page manual. Looking inside, even the table of contents has good art. Here there's a brief rundown of the world of Chrono Trigger, in which we're told Chrono was chosen by guardian spirits to save the world from ultimate devastation. And it shows how we're going to be traveling through time to do this. Here's a cast of characters section with just great character art. Then we get a lot of the typical stuff that RPG manuals had back then with basic information, most of which you could probably figure out on your own. There's some art on some of these pages too, but a lot of it is just the same character art recycled from what we saw earlier. On page 47, though, there's a beautiful looking drawing of Robo, Chrono, and Frog in a dungeon. Here's another great one on page 63 depicting a showdown with Magus. And as some of these RPG manuals used to do, this one has a walkthrough for the very first part of the game to help get you going. I really love this picture of Luca working on Robo. Another cool scene here. And that does it for the manual. Now let's check out those foldouts. I'm going to save my favorite one for last. Each of these is a set of maps on one side and a poster on the other. I'll admit, these maps aren't that useful because they don't list the names of places. They just have the world as you can see it in-game anyway, but the presentation is still nice. The back of this one has the cover art, and again, I just think this looks so good. Here's the other one. Maps on this side, and on the other side, Toriyama's interpretation of possibly the most famous scene in the whole game. What I really love about this is that this was obviously made before fans were able to play the game, meaning SquareSoft could already feel how moving this simple scene was. A scene in which the characters just take a break in the middle of their journey. Now, as much as I do love this, I have to say that the coloring makes it a little difficult to parse. With essentially just two drastically contrasting colors, it's really difficult to get your bearings on what's what here. But at the same time, I don't really care. It's the campfire scene. It's drawn by Toriyama. We see Chrono, Ayla, and Robo just exhausted. I'm willing to do a little work to be able to take it all in. Chrono Trigger holds a special place in the hearts of so many RPG fans. And in this box, we see that it was also special to SquareSoft themselves. With 2 posters, plenty of art by Akira Toriyama, and a thick manual, you can't say they gave this package anything less than what the game deserves.